Production presents the Spectrem Sci Fi Hi and hello, and thank you for watching. This is the Spectrem Sci Fi show, the new version of it, where we're doing this program called What About It? Myself, Keith Baudry, and my co-host, Erin Dillon.
Hello, hello.
We are talking about what about superhero films.
And we will throw in, just because I guess it's pop culture right now, Transformers, Ninja Turtles, we'll throw those all into the spectrum of, spectrum of superhero movies.
Yep. And I've got my little product placement here.
Obviously, you can tell Bo is not a fan of Batman vs. Superman.
I'm obviously a fan of this movie,
or Star Wars.
Which means a lot of people don't like me very much.
Or white pillars. He's not a fan of white pillars.
Those aren't mine. All right. Moving on. Erin, tell me what you think about superhero films.
Superhero films. I will go ahead and start off with the big statement of, I think they all suck.
How do you really feel?
Well, okay, if you're asking. Yeah, I think superhero films, I think they've pretty much gotten the easiest thing to get right, wrong. And the way that I'll write that, now, of course, there are things that come into play, like who owns the rights to stories and what you can tell and what you can't tell and stuff like that. But, of course, there's those smaller things. Let me go ahead and just let me try to structure this.
Well, you had this one thing that you wanted to say.
Okay, yeah. Okay.
There's this one thing that you can't
We'll
stand.
structure it this way. All right, so I am not a fan of how superhero movies, Transformers included, Ninja Turtles, try to take such a campy, big, bright idea out of this world, out of this whatever, and try to throw it into 2017 in the most real way possible. We're trying to add logic to all this illogical craziness, brightness, things like that in the world. Because I think it limits you.
So you don't like how they take the nice, like the borderline stupidity of the whole thing, and they try to make it.
I mean, superheroes in general, a guy in tights saving the day.
It's
that's
amazing.
A concept.
It's amazing.
It's a goofy concept.
It's my greatest. It's my greatest dream.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's a dream.
I want to wear tights and save the world.
Yeah, and then you've got bad guys who are wearing the same exact thing that are doing dastardly plots. And
so can you give me an example of like what kind of movies did this? Obviously, Batman v Superman. Like they took this really campy, idea of this guy that's a billionaire that fights crime by night. This really kind of goofy character that is Batman, and they made it super dark and gritty and.
Let me encompass more things into my scope of wrong that I think they're doing. I think I added that I didn't like how they're taking such bright things like, you know, the colors, the
Okay, so
colors.
You
Things
said
like
something
that,
about
colors.
like Doctor Strange.
Yeah. Okay. So Doctor Strange is is where we're going in so many directions here. But Doctor Strange, I'll go ahead and just say I didn't like the movie for various reasons. But going off of what I'm saying right now about I don't like it in the real world, sorta. I know Marvel kind of is in the real world with the New York Sanctum and Hong Kong Sanctum and stuff like that. But anyway, like I was saying, I did not like the dim colors of the entire movie. I didn't agree with that. I didn't agree with a lot of things. Now, I'm not a huge Doctor Strange fan. I couldn't tell you what happened in what comic and things like that, but I think I know what was done wrong and right. Of course the effects looked really good, but to be honest, that movie felt like a weird child of Inception meets, what was the movie I said in the text? It was Inception meets,
I don't know. I don't remember. But I like how I kind of liked Doctor Strange. I thought it was very playful, the whole thing. My only complaint walking away from Doctor Strange was Caecilius. Is that his name?
Caecilius, yeah.
Yeah. I felt like he was underdeveloped as a bad guy. I wasn't that afraid of him. And then Darmam was cool and stuff. Is that how you say it? Darmam?
Yeah, Darmama.
But I laughed every time they said his name because I thought they were saying your mom. Yeah, it was just stupid.
So on to the point of Caecilius, or however you say his name, I think that's right.
Caecilius.
He was he was used as comedic relief at points. And that, okay, for one, another thing every superhero movie gets wrong is let's make movies as funny as possible. That's one thing I don't like. I don't like how
have you seen the second Guardians of the Have you seen the second Guardians of the Galaxy?
No.
No?
I saw the first one and I felt that would suffice.
That was so that comedy was okay with you?
No, I mean like that's the that's the thing is I saw the first Guardians of the Galaxy and I went, this is pretty much what 2's going to be like. I'm going to have to listen to comedic relief from Drax,
who annoys the crap out of me. Drax drives me nuts.
Yeah. Hey, wrestlers turned actors annoy the crap out of me. Just saying. Okay, so Drax, Star-Lord, Raccoon, Groot, and then sort of a stoic comedic relief of Gamora. I feel like all those people are comedic relief. I feel like everyone is comedic relief. Everyone is the Spider-Man, basically. I mean, and not even with Guardians of the Galaxy. I mean, everything. Like Transformers has too much comedic relief from robots from another world that it's just got to be slapstick funny all the time. Like Bumblebee pees oil on a cop or something like that. Like, and I mean, I get this stuff is for kids and things like that, but that doesn't mean you have to do.
What about like
funny.
What about like Deadpool?
I have my own qualms with Deadpool. Like, I don't like how Deadpool breaks the fourth wall, and I said this in our previous podcast. I'm not a fan of things that break the fourth wall, only because I want to be taken away. I want to be somewhere else. I want to experience another story.
I think Deadpool's character has always sort of done that kind of stuff though in the comics and
by comic.
He's always been a total idiot, from what I can tell. The guy's a complete idiot.
Chimichangas, Merc with a mouth, stuff like that. I mean, that's all fine and cool if you're a fan of Deadpool. I bet you love the movie. You know what I mean? Like it didn't do anything wrong as far as I can tell from a Deadpool, as a Deadpool fan would feel. But me personally, just even in the comics, I just never cared for the chimichanga guy who talked too much. Was a joke every other page, and then every time I saw him in comics with like Wolverine and these serious people, he was like he was doing these weird things that took me out of where I was in the storytelling, because I was like, this is this is stupid. Like he just killed Stan Lee or something like that. Like he breaks the fourth wall to me. Like I don't.
So what superhero movies do you like? Are there any?
Oh my goodness. Okay. Well, as I've gotten older, I've come to appreciate the earlier 2000 Spider-Man movies. Now,
okay.
With
Tobey Maguire.
and
Kirsten Dunst.
And I'll go into why I think that I think I've begun to like them a little more. Besides number 3, everybody remember that is a horrible movie.
I will never
says it's bad.
I will never forget that musical number from that movie. And just thinking, what the fuck is happening?
What did you do?
I was like, did I walk into the wrong movie? I was like,
oh my!
What is this?
That would have been funny. I mean, that's
some weird noir, like
anyway.
1920s era song and dance number in the middle.
Spider-Man 3 by Sam Raimi off of the collective unconscious and conscious. Get it out of here. It was such a terrible movie. Anyway, Spider-Man 1 and 2, the reason, especially 1, I'll go into 1. 1 is more so my favorite from 2, and I know more people lean towards 2 because it looked a lot better and did a lot more things story-wise and stuff. It wasn't an origin story. Anyway, like I was saying, the main reason that I really find myself in hindsight liking those Spider-Man movies was because I think it closely stayed with the source material, which I think a lot of comic books or, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Transformers, I think a lot of that stuff, they do not follow all the source material that exists. The cartoons, the comics, the video games, even if they have to.
Now, do they have to follow the source material to be a likable film?
Well, I don't see why not. But see, of course, this boils down to, well, obviously they're not making these movies for the fans. They're making these movies for future fans or people who will see it and then go, oh, man, I like Spider-Man now, or oh, man, I like Star Wars now, because the old movies were boring, the prequels were ridiculous, and these movies are so dark and gritty and stuff like that. And it's like, I like Star Wars now. They're not making these movies for the fans. They've really never done that.
Absolutely.
So of course that's the crappy thing, being a fan of something and see it kind of go off the rails in your mind. I mean, of course, but see, it's all different opinions, and the only reason that I say that, okay, so to learn a little bit about me, I only look at the original Star Wars trilogy from 1977 on as the only Star Wars films. I don't acknowledge the prequels. Force Awakens, I think, has gotten it wrong.
I think the prequels were awesome. Some of them.
Rogue One was decent. It's the best current Star Wars movie we have, but by no means is it a Star Wars film. But see, here's the thing, everybody. If you're going to listen to my opinion, know that I'm a purist when it comes to all these things. That's how my wife likes to put it. She's like, yeah, you're a purist when it comes to all this stuff, because if it doesn't follow the original source material, you shrug it off. And I'm like, yeah, but that doesn't mean I can't grow with the franchise. But when I'm seeing things that I'm just like, that doesn't make sense. Why would you do that? I.e. Star Wars.
See, I myself, I am not a purist by any means. Like, I want to see stuff completely altered, and I love the multiverse stuff and the New 52 and the Rebirth, and I want to see it all just blown to hell and rearranged.
Yeah, and I mean that's a school of thought. There's nothing wrong with these schools of thoughts. You know what I mean? I'm a little more like, see, when it comes to...
Okay, so what did you think of like Watchmen?
I like Watchmen only because it stayed pretty consistent with the source material. Of course, there were a few things here and there that, like every movie, it got some things wrong, it got some things right. Some things were a little awkward in that movie. The ending, to be honest, I think that ending was better than the comics ending, because the comics ending was a little out there. It was an Alan Moore comic. What can you expect? And, don't get me wrong, the comic ending was memorable because it was so freaking weird. But the movie went in there and was like, no, it was Dr. Manhattan. We're going to frame Dr. Manhattan and stuff like that. And I was like, well, okay, that makes a lot more sense. Zack Snyder, go ahead.
Okay, so I guess there's there's movies like Sin City. Did you like that one?
I did. I liked the original.
So like Sin City.
I saw Dame to Kill for probably, I don't know, maybe a year ago, and I didn't like it as much, but
yeah, me neither.
But
it didn't feel
for this.
It didn't feel as original.
Way too late in the cycle of the two movies to even care. As far as our consciousness goes, that was so far removed from my radar that I didn't care at that point. It wasn't this cool booming thing that I was like, I can't wait for the next one. I felt like that, half a decade ago or whatever, when I was in middle school or high school.
I felt like the novelty of the whole thing, the black and white, was completely lost on the sequel. It just felt like more of the same. To me, that fell flat. But
I think what it is really, what it boils down to, is it's too far removed from us caring. It happened so far down the line from the original.
I would have liked.
It just doesn't matter. It didn't matter at that point.
I would have liked less tits and more gore. in that film, I think would have made it a better one. But they really kind of handcuffed themselves to a certain demographic by the way they did that movie. Now, what about so the original Sin City, Watchmen, some other superhero movies you might have liked?
Ninja Turtles.
Let me go on my spiel. The '90s Ninja Turtles, or like.
No, I like the 90s Ninja Turtles, but they didn't even get everything right by any means. But for nostalgia's sake, I like it. But they did do some things right in that, whereas this new movie, these new movies, 1 and 2, and 1 and then Out of the Shadows, did completely wrong. For one, let me go ahead and start so that everyone here can know my true feelings about it. I freaking hate those movies.
So,
okay? I can't stand them. I will go into specific reasons why. One, turtles are like 6'4" or 5.
Yeah, you're talking about the big, bulky CG Ninja Turtle movie?
Right. Does anyone else watch that movie, and when the turtles are moving and bouncing real fast, you get a little motion sickness? Because, for one, it's the way they shot it.
Why are they so huge?
Right. Ninja Turtles, they're supposed to be 5 foot tall, if not 5'2". But
they're supposed to be like teenagers, and these look like
See now you get it.
No, but I think that's the dumbest thing.
Here's the thing.
It's so stupid.
A clan of foot ninjas, the average heighted person is like 5'9" to 5'11", okay? Those turtles are like 6'4" to 6'5". Foot Clan soldiers average are going to be probably about 5'9", 5'11" if there's no requirement in height. Okay, they're not going to fight 4 massively tall turtles
6'8"
that are muscle bound, trying to do whatever. Throw those dudes across the ring. Those guys aren't going to fight them. Okay, the cool thing was that Foot guys came in there. Where, saw these 4 little tiny turtles and, didn't think anything of it, go to beat them, and these turtles are bouncing off each other, flipping, doing fast kicks, hitting them with bow staffs and sais and stuff. Like, that is Ninja Turtles. That is the whole gimmick of it, is that there are these tiny turtles who are bouncing off of walls, bouncing on shells, bumping into people. I'm not saying that they got to be going, I love being a turtle, and their head shrinks back into their shell, and they do this to a Foot Clan guy running behind them and stuff like that. It doesn't have to be that, but it definitely doesn't have to be this new Michael Bay crap that they made the turtles too earth toned. Don't get me wrong, they get that they're green, but not like that. And then also the dynamic between Casey Jones and Raphael means absolutely nothing if Casey Jones is 6 foot and Raphael is 6'5", weighing 500 pounds.
Yep.
They're not going to have punches and be like, man, shut up. Like every time Raph says something,
so I think
Casey's gonna be like, "Yeah, you're right, dude."
I think the '90s version of Ninja Turtles was kick ass. That was a great film. The original
Ninja Turtles,
where they had like the weird moving heads.
the animatronics.
It was awesome.
Everything. Also, another thing to remember, if anybody ever saw Out of the Shadows, it's on Hulu. It's a terrible movie. The ooze, the infamous ooze that made the turtles, it's not purple. I just want to go ahead and throw that out there. It's green, and it's sacrilege that they made it purple. It's sacrilegious either. It was sacrilege.
That's hilarious. Aaron, who's offended by the color of the ooze.
Hey, don't even. But see, that's the thing.
You're a purist.
Material.
You're a purist.
Like, what do you not get about it? Just do it.
How easy would that have been?
And then also funny. At this point, I mean, what like these movies should be nothing but fan service at this point. Really, they're not. We had to wait one movie and then another movie to get Bebop and Rocksteady. Okay, Bebop and Rocksteady should have been just a staple that happened. We had to wait 2 movies to get Krang. Okay, Shredder. Don't ever show Shredder without his damn armor on. Okay, because we don't care. We don't care when he's a normal dude going around going.
Yeah, I was just like, I didn't even know Shredder had a face.
Like, oh my gosh, dude. One thing I really liked about Ninja Turtles 1 back in the 90s, the Turtles never even beat Shredder in the first one. Splinter saved him.
Really?
That leaves room for a dynamic growth. You know what I mean? By the second movie, the Turtles got awesome, but then Super Shredder pumped the ooze into him and then brought down that pier on top of him after the infamous Vanilla Ice, go Ninja, go Ninja, go Ninja. You know what I mean? Like, awesome. All that happened and stuff like that.
Fantastic.
But anyway, yeah, so...
Okay, so we're trying... I guess at this point, we're trying to find superhero films that you like.
that I like.
That you like. What about, like, the Batman Begins, the Dark Knight trilogy?
I like them.
All of them? Those were fantastic films.
Hold on.
There's a but. There's a but.
There's a but. Overall, I liked the trilogy. I will say I liked the trilogy. When Batman Begins first came out, I had no idea why in the world they chose to do that crap. I was like, League of Shadows, Ra's al Ghul.
Yeah, they shook up the formula, man. I love that. I love that shit.
Yeah. Hindsight, I like Batman Begins a lot, actually, because I've answered this question many times. But, okay, so in Christopher Nolan's trilogy, I like to think of it as the first movie is the Batman, basically, to where it's you don't know if it's man or if it's Bat, because he was only at night. He was snatching bad guys away before they could go, that's a dude in a bat suit. They just thought, oh, shoot, dude, there's a giant creature or something flying by,
awesome.
Ripping dudes up, using smoke bombs and scaring them. Like you thought that there is a bat person, man, out here somewhere messing people up. Second movie, he became the world's greatest detective. We all remember in that movie where he was trying to find the Joker. He was ripping bullets out of walls and going, this bullet was traced to this thing, blah, 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 blah. World's greatest detective. Also, he was in a bank vault talking to Gordon and his cops.
And then when they used the cell phones to do like a sonar type thing?
Yeah.
That shit was cool. That shit was cool.
World's greatest detective. One thing I didn't like about that movie was, like I was saying, Batman was in the bank vault with Gordon and the other cops, and he was like, hey, Gordon. And it was like, come on, it's a dude in a bat suit. It's not like, there's no fear factor. And I know he's not trying to scare him, but like, that's got to be a little ridiculous at that point when you're like, Batman, can you leave, dude? Like, come on, man, we're all here working on something. And then 3, The Dark Knight. And of course it was The Dark Knight Rises, but that is when he became, The Dark Knight was in 3, where he came back and he was all beat up. He broke his back. His body had aged. He went on one final, mission or whatever and whatnot. Anyway, yeah, I like the trilogy. I do think they got some things wrong, but like I was saying, I didn't understand.
I gotta figure out my recording stopped. I gotta start a new one. And
okay, like I was saying, in hindsight, I like Batman Begins, but I think I liked it way more once I saw where the Dark Knight Rises went, and I went, oh shoot, full circle, Christopher Nolan.
cool.
Bravo.
Cool. So I remember you saying something about the Joker and how they did the Joker.
Oh, real quick, one superhero movie I really do like, 1989 Batman with Michael Keaton.
Oh, that's a great one, man, with Jack Nicholson as the Joker.
Yeah, it was a different time for cinema and filmmaking.
That's a great film.
Anyway, like I said, 1989 Batman is phenomenal. Okay, so Joker.
So we've got hold on, we've got a few now. Okay, so a few movies we do like for sure that we can agree on. The Watchmen, Sin City. But would you really call that a superhero film? I don't know.
No, but I'd lump it in with that.
Yeah.
I mean,
it has that comic roots. So
yeah, I mean, he ripped the dude's like scrotum off and stuff.
What about something like I'm just gonna ignore that.
And then Mickey Rourke survived the electric chair. Yeah,
it's awesome.
It's a superhero movie. Let's just say that.
So what about something like Kick-Ass? Would that is that?
I actually read the comic before I saw the movie, just so I could have an idea. I like Kick-Ass. I did not like how they did Big Daddy, or was his name Big Daddy? Basically, Nicolas Cage's character.
Oh.
I didn't like how they changed him from the comics. They did.
That's your whole source material thing.
Exactly.
I like that he felt like a Batman, Owlman character. I enjoyed that.
Yeah.
Hit Girl was the obvious takeaway from that movie. That was the most badass character.
Yeah. She was good. She was very good. But anyway, like I was saying, I am a purist when it comes to taking a comic and putting it in a movie. I get that you can do things on page that you cannot do on screen, and vice versa. I totally get that. I'm an advocate of, I get you can't do things like that. But like I said, these movies aren't made for people like me. They're made for whoever.
Okay.
They're made for the new fans and the new money that they can make off of such titles.
So here's another one that you maybe might have seen. Have you seen Old Man Logan?
I haven't seen it, but to be honest, I have such a huge bias against those X-Men franchise movies because I think Bryan Singer has utterly ripped apart that franchise and just tried to retcon his way out of a cluster.
I think the first 3 X-Men movies were horrendous. I hate those films. Yeah. I really do.
They were bad. And see, I thought
awful.
X-Men First Class was going to be like this thing where I'm like, oh, good, Bryan Singer's not have anything to do with it. Nah, we were still in Bryan Singer's universe, kind of.
Yeah.
And he was producer or something like that. And then the movies that followed, we were still in Bryan Singer's universe. And he was like, well, we're going to retcon things from those movies to this movie because we thought about it. And he's even acknowledged that he wrote some things wrong and stuff like that. And I'm like, well, why the hell do we keep giving him a shot at this crap?
I thought First Class was so. I mean, it was definitely a huge step forward from those horrible first 3 movies. I thought Days of Future Past was actually a pretty decent film. I enjoyed that. I enjoyed that the most out of any of the X-Men films.
It took 4 movies to get to Days of Future Past. I don't even care. It took 5 movies to get to Apocalypse. I don't even care.
See, I thought Apocalypse was stupid. I thought Apocalypse was stupid. I thought that was dumb.
Apocalypse was offensive because I was like, oh my, like how can you make such an amazing villain as Apocalypse? I loved Apocalypse. I love any of those big are, big bad guys that it takes the whole team to defeat. Like Galactus is supposed to be in the Infinity Wars.
Yeah.
Or not Galactus, sorry, Thanos is supposed to be in the Infinity Wars.
I don't care. I hate the Avengers, man. I think it's so stupid. I think the first Avengers movie was all right. It was a good, action-packed, eat some popcorn, don't think about anything else in the entire world. Just watch some shit blow up and laugh a little bit.
That mindset right there is... I had that mindset, and I told myself, I'm going to have this mindset from now on because I know not to expect anything from Marvel at this point.
It's bad, man.
Really, like Marvel, if a Marvel movie comes out, I don't care. I'm not one of the people that's like, hey, man, did you see this? So, Iron Man 3, basically...
Nah, dude.
like Iron Man 3 was terrible.
I think the original Iron Man... might be one of those films that I would say is like the quintessential superhero movie. I think that's a great film. They introduced a really cool character, Tony Stark, in that film. First, the actor completely escapes me right now. But
man, you had to say something because I don't even remember his name right now.
Why did
Robert Downey Jr.
There you go.
I was like, oh my god, I just watched Chaplin.
I think Robert Downey Jr.'s take as Tony Stark is kick-ass. It's a great film. I
don't know if anyone else feels like this, but with Tony Stark right there, like you said, you were like, I think he's great. Everybody loves Tony Stark. Honestly, why do we love him? Because, give me a second here. Why do we love him when every movie, it's the same thing with him? At the start of the movie, he's a dick. At the end of the movie, he's a good person and we like him. Iron Man 2, he's a dick.
This is what I'm saying,
though.
That's what I'm saying, though, is that the first Iron Man movie is really the end of all superhero movies. That's where
it all just
the like
start of the Marvel.
Yeah,
universe,
they all just fell into this like we're all gonna follow the same plot structure from now on. We're gonna somehow tie it in at the end with some stupid extra cutscene, and we're gonna call it a extended universe. All these movies tie into each other. It's basically one big ass fucking TV show.
Yeah, it's too much of a mess at this point, especially, and see, I know that 20th Century Fox or Fox has the rights to X-Men, Marvel has the rights to Marvel and all their things, and Sony has the rights to Spider-Man. So obviously you can't bring all three of those things together for, reasons, obvious reasons and things like that. And honestly, I'm going to delve into this real quick because I did not finish this thought in the beginning of the podcast. But what I was saying was the first Tobey Maguire Spider-Man movie. I really like it. Yes, they did things wrong. Yes, Green Goblin is wearing an Iron Man suit. Yes, he's wearing Penny Hardaway shoes. Penny Hardaway is a basketball player, and that is what they made his shoes. They painted them green. So Green Goblin's shoes are basketball shoes.
They fucked up. Cool. They fucked up Green Goblin, man.
Yeah, and did you ever see the test footage that they shot of Green Goblin with a rubber green mask and a purple hood and stuff like that? It looked phenomenal. Okay, but see, as I've gotten older and I go back and I watch Spider-Man 1, I appreciate exactly how well Sam Raimi, the director, if any of you have ever seen Evil Dead 2, or Army of Darkness, he is infamous from those movies. He's the director and the creator of that. But anyway, like I said, he harnessed the campiness of it. Because good God, if you it doesn't hit you thinking about it, but if you go back and watch Spider-Man 1, Tobey Maguire, that movie is so campy. And when Spider-Man and the Green Goblin are fighting each other, it looks like a Power Rangers movie. It is so amazing because that's essentially, if people were in tights throwing punches at each other, it ain't going to be pretty beautiful. It's going to be a little goofy looking. And I mean, don't get me wrong. There were some, like I said, there were things in that movie that just were but there was a lot that they got right, in my opinion. Of course, they did get some things wrong, obviously. But
I do agree with you. I do think the original Spider-Man films, that original trilogy there, was pretty cool. I like Spider-Man 2 with Doc Ock. And,
right, that's the one that most people will say is the best out of that trilogy.
Yeah, it's cool. It's cool stuff, man.
3 is in existence.
It was super cool. Even though 3 was so fucking strange.
That was a bad movie.
Even though it was so strange, I still thought that as far as like superhero films go, that's one of the first times they really went all in with like CG for a superhero film. Like with,
and honestly, I think that was their downfall in 3 with Sandman.
Yeah,
Sandman, and then also having a very
Venom.
Weak and badly written Eddie Brock in Venom.
Yeah, yeah. What do you think about Tom Hardy as Venom?
Sounds good to me, but I am a Tom Hardy fanboy. Not that I think he can do no wrong, but he holds it down for us 5'9" guys. So rock on, Tom Hardy.
Represent.
Yeah. So anyway, no, but really, I like Tom Hardy. I think he's proved himself as an actor a little bit. I do wish he got the role of Wolverine a little more. I know he's taller than what Wolverine is supposed to be, but I'll tell you what, Wolverine is not supposed to be about 6'2" to 4. Hugh Jackman barely has any hair. He's supposed to be a solid 5 foot to 5'2".
So the Wolverine movies, out of all those, are there any worth talking about? They're terrible.
Honestly, I never saw Old Man Logan.
Logan.
The
only thing that makes Logan a cool film is that it feels like it fits right alongside like a Clint Eastwood type thing.
Right.
Like
The trailer had what's his name, Johnny Cash singing "Hurt."
Yeah.
I mean, it's gonna give you that Western sort of Southern feel, that weird area. Yeah. I mean, here's the thing, though. Did you care about, like when I learned about the bad guys and who the bad guys were going to be? I didn't care.
Yeah.
Honestly, guys with guns fighting Wolverine. Did you not learn from the 5 other movies this is not anything?
Honestly, there's really not much of a villainous presence at all in that film.
Right, and I get it.
It feels like he's fighting his age more than anything, and like
of course,
his past.
And I guess there's parallels to that, obviously. With the movie.
Now, I will say it's probably the most emotional superhero film in a long time.
Yeah, probably.
Whereas most of them have been so stupid.
Well, we've had Hugh Jackman since like 2001.
Yeah,
as Wolverine. So, of course, it's like, oh, it's his last movie. But to me, I'm like, hey, bye. Give us something else, man. Bryan Singer, get off these movies, even though they have more movies slated with the New Mutants and stuff like that following suit from X-Men Apocalypse. But I'm out. I don't want to support those movies anymore. I don't want to give so much bad writing, retconning, bad decision-makings. I don't want to give it money.
Yeah.
And I wish I could say that about Star Wars, but I can't. If it's got Star Wars name on it, I'm an idiot, and I go see it because I'm like, fingers crossed, did they get it right this time? Fingers crossed, the story's going to get better. Fingers crossed, this trilogy is going to make a lot of sense.
Awesome.
Hint at what I think about the new trilogy. So far, it's only one movie, but...
All right. So I'm having a little bit of technical difficulties. Sorry, I kind of zoned out for a second there. So it sounds like none of the Wolverine movies we care about, really.
Anything remotely X-Men at this point in time? Yeah.
I would have said X-Men Origins was a cool one. But
the Wolverine movie?
the Origins film, Wolverine Origins, X-Men Origins. And it was about the birth of Wolverine. I would say that was a cool film, but just how they did Deadpool at the end ruined it.
Yeah, that was
ruined the film. Absolutely.
The Wolverine, where they were like, let's go into the Japanese side of Logan's story. Lame. Bad guy at the end, Lame. Lame. Story, lame. All of it. Oh my God. I can't even tell you how much I just cannot stand anything that is remotely in that Bryan Singer universe. And I hate to throw Bryan Singer's name out there because Usual Suspects with Kaiser Soze is an amazing movie. That is a classic, and that's probably what he should have stuck with doing. But going into X-Men territory, that is a sin.
Nice. Okay, so any other films that we can talk about, like Thor, maybe? I hate those movies, all of them. How about the Hulk?
Which one? They've barely given us anything concrete for the Hulk. They've always switched it up. Of course, we have Mark Ruffalo right now, but
what did you think about the first Hulk movie that came about like the mid '90s? I think late '90s.
The Eric Bana movie.
I can't remember the actor's name, but at the end he's like fighting a cloud.
Oh yeah, that was his dad.
His dad or something.
Who I thought was Absorbing Man.
Yeah.
Which Marvel fans will know who that is. Absorbing Man. I thought that's who that was, but turned out to not really be Absorbing Man.
It was
just
weird.
This weird haiku of a movie. I get that's what the director was doing, but I'm glad that was wiped clean.
Haiku.
Don't get me wrong. Hulk looked like a giant baby. I don't know if anyone else thought that, but he looked like a green giant baby.
Okay, all right. So, not a fan of that one.
Yeah.
How about the Edward Norton Incredible Hulk film?
I was a fan of that for weird reasons.
I like that film a lot, actually.
Who did Tim Roth play in the movie? He played Abomination.
Yeah.
At the end,
He
but
played.
whenever he was,
He played.
He played Chomsky. Was it Chomsky or something like that?
Yes, Chomsky and Bruce Banner's girlfriend's dad, basically.
Yeah, Thunderbolt Ross.
Yeah.
Anyway, Thunderbolt. Anyway, Chomsky or whatever his name was. The fact that they were like, "Here's the super soldier serum," and they kind of hearkened to the super soldier serum stuff, and they gave it to him. And the way this was actually before the Captain America movies came out, because I remember going, if Captain America is like exactly what he's doing right now, it's going to be fantastic. I don't remember if you remember this, but Hulk was going on a rampage, and Chomsky, we'll call him Chomsky because I don't really know what his name is, basically was dodging Hulk's attacks, was climbing up on him, shooting him in the face with a pistol.
That was cool.
That was
cool.
A phenomenally done scene. Like, that right there made me so hopeful for the Marvel Captain America franchise. Of course, it was nothing like that.
Yeah.
Actually, I will give credit to, as they've progressed Captain America, his moves have gotten pretty sweet. Just saying. I watched.
What did you think of, speaking of Captain America, the three Captain America films, or the two that we have so far?
I watched one.
The first one?
Yeah, I saw the first one.
I have not seen Winter Soldier. The first one is completely.
I did not see Winter Soldier.
The first Captain America movie is completely lost on me, so it must not have been good.
Yeah, because it's just a Steve Rogers movie at that point.
It must not have been good. I remember a few scenes where he was
his head. That was where we first.
His head was normal size, but it was put on like my body, and it was weird.
Yeah, it was very weird.
It was weird.
I never saw Winter Soldier. I did see Civil War, which is technically a Captain
What did you think?
movie.
What did you think of Civil War?
Oh, that was such a bad movie.
I hated it. Oh my god, it was miserable.
It was such a bad movie.
It was miserable.
It just, it went places, and it was like, my whole thing is to set strife on the inside, as Baron Zemo, and you're like, that's Baron Zemo? That's the guy who wore pink and did stuff like that? That guy? Don't get me wrong, I like that actor from Inglourious Basterds by Quentin Tarantino. He does a good job of, portraying a bad guy. But anyway, like I was saying, his whole thing was weak. The storytelling was weak. The storytelling with Tony Stark going to an elevator and a lady was like, "This is my son. He's dead."
Yeah, and then he's suddenly...
And then he was like, "You know what? Superheroes suck.
Yeah.
Let's start some shit."
And then he's all of a sudden like, "Oh, I have to rethink everything I've ever done in my life." That was
my gosh. I was like, how not Tony Stark of Tony Stark?
Right? It was dumb. They ruined his character in that film.
I like how they did Winter Soldier. I like how they did his arm. Excuse me. I like how they did his arm. I'll tell you, one of the best parts of that movie was Black Panther. Look at that Winter Soldier arm.
Black Panther, he was cool. I'll give you that.
I think they did the best with him.
So moving on, none of the Avengers films really matter to me. I think
they're all. I mean,
what about
in the scheme of, they're just lame.
What about that one Spider-Man movie with that kid with the afro?
Kid with an afro. What the hell are you talking about?
The one Spider-Man movie or maybe it was two. Did they do one or two of those? Where
the Amazing Spider-Man?
Yeah, Jamie Foxx played like Electro or something.
Oh my god! Yeah, those are bad, man.
You didn't like that?
Okay, so
it was all right.
Go into the first one.
It was all right. Moving on.
Those are bad. I can go into more explicit detail if anyone wants me to.
Let's see.
Since it's just you and me.
Do we have anything else?
Transformers sucks.
The Transformers films? I have not liked a single one of those.
Yeah,
not
can't
one.
Have earth-toned robots fighting in earth-toned environments because no one knows what's happening.
I have no clue what the fuck is going on.
Oh my god.
It's
Tree, or Optimus, or Megatron, or some other alien.
Something moving!
There's something on screen right now. Enjoy it. Thanks.
I have not seen Pacific Rim.
I'll go into Pacific Rim. I like Pacific Rim. But that's because I didn't really have any source material. I could just go, I can like this and feel good about myself.
Awesome.
As opposed to just feeling icky inside for liking something.
That makes me happy.
Not follow the source material.
That makes me happy for you, Aaron.
Yeah, I know. It's the small victories. I'm telling you. It's the small victories.
All right, so we've talked about...
One thing I'm looking forward to, real quick, let me just interject, was Stephen King's The Dark Tower movie coming out.
With Idris Elba and Matthew McConaughey.
Yes, and the reason I say that is because I just started reading the first book. And, I think the casting choices are awesome.
You probably made a mistake by reading the book. You should have just foregone the source material.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm a Idris Elba fanboy and a Matthew McConaughey fanboy. So,
dude, his role in True Detective made me fall in love with him. I'm just like, dude, you are awesome. You are the man.
Have you ever seen Idris Elba in Luther?
Yes.
The BBC show?
Kick ass.
It's pretty good. Idris Elba in just about damn near anything is awesome. And the reason I say that is, to me, he's universal. Like, he has a quality about him is universally liked.
We should start a petition to get Idris Elba as Jon Stewart, Green Lantern.
I wouldn't mind that. He's a little old. I didn't mind him. The idea of him.
He's a little old.
Yeah, I didn't mind the idea of him being James Bond. I like the idea that he's the gunslinger.
Let's see. I want to see Wonder Woman. I haven't seen that yet, but it's good.
I haven't seen that. Obviously, all the reviews are fantastic.
Let's see. What about the Man of Steel?
The fight scenes were spectacular. The storytelling was absolute crap.
Storytelling was absolute crap? I can agree with that. I can agree with that. This whole like Superman is Jesus thing was kind of weird.
Yeah, fighting the fighting in that movie was about the closest thing I think they could get to superhumans fighting superhumans.
Yeah,
they did a way better job than Marvel does.
I love that they took out an entire fucking city, and then that carried over into Batman v Superman.
Right. Yeah. Right. The movie was a little weak, especially when Superman went and fought that with like drilling machine that was like a squid creature.
Okay, yeah, it was supposed to like
amorphous water.
Yeah, it was supposed to
I guess that's supposed to harken back to the old like cartoons of Superman fighting giant creatures and stuff, but it was just bad.
Whenever he fought, what now? The giant thing that's like changing the atmosphere?
Yeah, but it was like a creature that was like chasing him and stuff.
Oh, weird.
Remember?
No.
You remember that in Man of Steel?
No, totally lost him.
It was crap.
Wait. Yeah, there was like a machine that they sent from the ship.
Yeah, it was a machine,
but
it had some sort of amorphous like
I remember that. I have no idea what that was, where that came from.
That was such an oddly written thing in the movie that I was like, what? Why are we not just watching Superman and Zod literally beat the crap out of each other for 2 hours?
I think the greatest moment in that film was whenever Zod hijacked all the television screens, and there was that fuzzy. There was that cool fuzzy thing where you are not alone. It's it's so badass. That's one of my most memorable moments in film.
Honestly, I didn't care for the technology from Krypton. I don't know if anybody felt like that, but when I saw the technology... Oh, also, Russell Crowe had way too big of a deal in that movie. Just saying.
Yeah. What?
Appearing in front of, what's her name? Lois Lane, and guiding her through the ship. I was like, this is absolute garbage.
It was weird.
You guys literally just wanted to use as much Russell Crowe footage as you possibly could.
Hey, Russell, put that coffee down. We got a scene for you.
Hey, Russell, point to this donut. Don't worry, we'll show it out later. Just tell her that's the way to go. You guys are crazy, but okay.
That's hilarious.
Man, this is why I love working with you guys. You guys are so funny.
He's like walking away, going to use the bathroom. He's like, quick, film him. We can use that.
Yeah, more Russell.
Now, what did you think about this one?
BVS?
Batman versus Superman.
In the past, I think I said I liked it because I liked how dark it was.
I love that film. I love it. I've seen it probably 8 times now.
Right, and it was done well. I mean, there was nothing that I hated about it. Like, I liked that Superman died. I liked,
someone said the main argument against me, because I'm one of the few people on this planet that like that film.
I like those.
The main argument I get is people want to argue about how Batman is not supposed to kill people. And apparently in this film, he does. Whenever he shoots the guy's fire tank and he blows up. Whenever he's rescuing Diane or Diane Lane.
Yeah, there were a bunch of Dianes in that movie. I think my name's Diane now.
Martha.
Martha. Diane Martha. Whatever. Who cares?
There were a bunch of Marthas. But I thought it was... And then people wanted to complain about how cheesy the moment was whenever he was about to kill Superman. And
he said Martha.
Yeah. And then he goes, "What did you say?"
That was my mom's name.
And suddenly they're friends.
This is a weird turn of events.
And suddenly they're friends. People complain about that, but
it's kind of weak.
I find that so humorous.
You gotta write something.
So humorous and so just perfectly Batman that I can't complain about it ever. It just feels like the quintessential Batman moment where it's like, oh, okay.
We'll get up here, buddy.
Yeah, exactly.
What are you doing on the ground? Who put you down there? I don't know. I don't remember.
I loved it. I laughed out loud for a solid 5 minutes when that happened during the movie.
Things about that movie I did not like, I'm going to obviously throw this out there, is just because a villain talks a lot, guys, does not make him a good, well-written villain. I'm gonna go ahead and say it. Lex Luthor Jr. I'm gonna go ahead and throw out the idea that he's the junior Lex Luthor, and that we have yet to see Bryan Cranston as Daddy Lex. Because I think that's what we all want. We don't want this guy around anymore, because the fact that you got to make the villain younger than both Batman and Superman is weak as anything.
Yep.
Because there's nothing anyone's going to listen to that little brat say and go, you know what, that's a good villain. He's just like Heath Ledger. He should lick his lip.
I think that's what made him so interesting to me, was the fact that he was just a little brat, like trying to play with this insane technology, and it kind of backfired on him when Doomsday becomes a thing.
With all that, how Doomsday was created.
That was wrong. I agree. That was wrong.
An alien just should have come down, because what's so wrong with that concept when Wonder Woman basically just shows up? There's no real explaining it besides, like, she's older than she looks. What's your deal? Metahumans? It's like, well, just burn damn aliens, dude. Just make that thing come down from the freaking planet and kill Clark. That's it. That's literally
throw me a freaking bone here.
Yeah. Oh, look. Later on in the movie, Superman's dead.
Yeah.
Done.
I mean,
spoilers.
I still like it. I don't know. I still like it, and I'm excited for Justice League. I'm probably what you would call.
That's another thing we'll talk about. Justice League.
Well, I don't know if we have time for that today.
It sucks. We're done. Bye, guys. See you around.
It sucks. We're done.
See you next time.
I haven't seen any previews for Justice League at all.
I've seen one, and it was awful.
You shut your mouth. I'm a DC.
I like DC. I don't like that DC.
I'm all about DC, and I refuse to dislike their movies. I don't care. So you shut your mouth.
The Flash is not...
I will delete you.
Okay. I need this. Don't take it.
Yeah. We got a few minutes left. Not much time. But what do you think about, like, the DC and Marvel TV shows? So,
I was hoping you'd ask me about that. I haven't watched any of them because I don't care.
You haven't watched any of them?
So, all those Netflix
what about
series?
Daredevil? Remember how way back when Ben Affleck was the worst Daredevil I've ever seen in my life?
Yes, I do. I do.
And now this other guy has come in, and he's actually kind of cool. You should watch it, man.
Okay, so here's the thing. I know what to expect with Netflix originals as far as live action goes with those Marvel shows, because I've tuned in and I watched some episodes of Luke Cage. I tuned in and saw maybe 1 or 2 episodes of Daredevil, Iron Fist,
Luke Cage,
Jessica Jones.
Luke Cage.
And to be honest,
continue.
it's that. Go on.
No, you go.
Okay. To be honest, it's that weird budget that's like middle of the road budget. Let me go ahead and say this: middle of the road budget movies or shows suck. Low budget to high budget are what work. Okay, that middle of the road crap where it's like, why? I mean, it's Marvel. Just fork over the money or whatever. And Netflix too. Just fork over your loads of money and just make a high budget, awesome TV show. Don't make this weird in between crap that's between bad and good and it's supposed to make us be like, it's better than Ben Affleck wearing a wig and acting blind. Anything's damn better than that, man. But not. I mean, I'm not going to be blinded by these Marvel shows who are delving into characters that are more obscure, and the Defenders, and I like the Defenders comic book. Let me tell you what, it's not as good.
I will say Luke Cage feels like pandering. Jessica Jones was the campiest, cheesiest thing I've ever seen in my life.
I should watch it then.
Iron Fist was okay, but the main character is such a fucking idiot that I get annoyed at every decision. Yeah. Every time he opens his mouth, I get angry.
Honestly, I feel like skipping season 1 of everything because I don't want an origin story.
And then the Daredevil stuff, the first season was cool. The second season, they should just call it Punisher.
I haven't watched season 2 of Daredevil. I haven't watched season 1 besides 1 or 2 episodes. But let me go ahead and say this. I really like John Bernthal. I think that's his name, who played the Punisher in that one. He was Shane in The Walking Dead. I loved him in The Walking Dead. He was fabulous in The Walking Dead. But to be honest, I don't think he's Punisher. And that's not to say Thomas Jane is Punisher by any means. And that's also not to say that Ray Stevenson, I think is his name, is Punisher either.
The Punisher has yet to...
I don't think the Punisher has been done well on media besides comic books. And also, I don't think anyone... But see, honestly, we don't have anything in our collectiveness that's like, that's the Punisher besides go in there with some guns and just freaking kill stuff.
Tom Hardy in Mad Max was the Punisher.
Maybe.
Maybe. I agree. There's no Punisher yet, really.
Yeah. There really has not been a Punisher sort of thing that makes me go like, wow, I like the Punisher now. I don't really care for the Punisher. I think his whole story is kind of weak.
Yeah, true. So, in the end, it looks like we came out with very few movies that we like. I think we kind of... I wouldn't... Okay, so The Watchmen...
Still had things wrong with it. Still had things that made me go, but majority-wise, yeah, it's cool.
Anything with 8 glowing blue penises in one scene is going to go over well with me.
That's recorded. That's set in stone, what you just said. That's why I didn't say that one. I thought it.
Everyone can know that. I'll make it my status. I don't give a shit. All right.
Your profile pic is just going to be that.
Yep. Mm-hmm. 8 glowing blue penises is what it's going to be. Just side by side. All right.
Go on.
Watchmen, Sin City, the original... 89 Batman. Nolan Batman trilogy. The Spider-Man 1 and 2, Sam Raimi's.
Yeah, more so 1, but yeah, 1 and 2. I'll go with that.
Just 2 because I loved number 2 more than number 1. And that's about it, man.
Yeah.
I mean,
I should tell you something. I think, honestly, as fans, obviously, in this day and age, being a quote-unquote, from years ago, a nerd is cool. It's part of the mainstream now. It's part of the mainstream to read comic books. It's part of, well, sort of. It's still a subculture a little bit, but it's a lot more mainstream when you have TV shows like The Big Bang Theory and stuff like that millions of people watch. And, obviously your whole thing is going to be like, who wouldn't like that? Yeah, Bo doesn't like that, obviously.
Gross.
Anyway, but... it's so easy to build new fans when you just take existing, independent licenses and just roll with it. Like, you could do whatever you wanted with Spider-Man. It's going to get you money. You could do whatever you wanted with Star Wars. It's going to get you money. And like I said, Star Wars is the one thing I haven't broke the curse with, but I may break the curse after The Last Jedi. What if I see it and I absolutely cannot stand it? I will break the curse of Star Wars to where I don't have to see everything or play everything or read everything Star Wars does. But with Marvel, they lost me a long time ago. Superhero movies in general, they lost me. But that's because they don't make those movies for people like me. They don't make them for fans, which every one of those movies should be fanfare. I mean, let's just boil down to it. Every single superhero movie, comic book movie they make should be nothing but fanfare. We shouldn't be hit with weak sub-villains that no one gives two craps about. We shouldn't be hit with stupid sub-stories no one cares about. I mean, that's it.
Yeah. And with that, I think we're gonna wrap it up.
Cool.
Yeah, man. Thanks for chatting with me.
Of course.
The video cut out here about half an hour ago, and I couldn't get it back. It looks like we're out of a video again this week. I'm gonna have to go with something different. I know.
That's fun. That's fun.
I'm gonna have to figure out a better way to record the video. But yeah, thank you for listening to our podcast again. This is the Spectrem Sci Fi show with me, Keith Baudry, and this guy, Erin Dillon.
Hello. You may have heard of me, or one of my many egos.
And yeah, we'll be back next week with What About It?
What about it? I'm not sure what about it, but we'll figure it out.
We'll figure it out. We'll have something to talk about. But thanks again. Like, subscribe, whatever you do with podcasts. Find me, send me